Good afternoon. It is July 20, 2024, and it's a Saturday. Here in Sherbrooke, just here in Sherbrooke, it is currently 23 degrees Celsius. Full screen ad blocking. The other web browser, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's sunny. It's very sunny outside, as you can see. Lots of sun. It's very nice. And I sort of rushed through this because I need to get out of the house because I'm just not feeling good and I'm feeling anxious and been sort of a wizard of loneliness over the past few days, and yeah, I've just been feeling very lonely, and I want to find a way to mitigate that loneliness, but also I don't really know what to do to see people right now since a lot of the people I know are busy working, so I don't know. But the sun this morning rose at 5:19 a.m. and will set at 8:28 p.m. That is 15 hours and 9 minutes. Sunlight, the duration of the sun being high up in the sky, is decreasing at an alarming rate. I was looking at a music video last night for a song that I've talked about here before, L'Île aux Bleuets by BB Club, which takes place during the winter, and I just had this sort of jolt of dread. Dread is the feeling that I had, that it's going to be winter again at some point. There's beauty in winter, but it's just like I composed a song at one point called "The Tyranny of Maintenance." It's something that I've been feeling, or that I sort of was feeling oppressed by when I woke up today, because I'm like, I gotta make myself breakfast, make myself coffee, drink coffee, and I gotta, not I gotta, but I think it is a good idea to not do it in front of my computer, because, I've talked about this at the Drug and Alcohol Recovery Center, talking to my counselor, because the addiction issues that I have are really not just to alcohol and drugs, but also to my computer. Just like compulsively am in front of my computer. And yeah, once I start on it, I'm there for like at least a few hours. But I did do a thing that I have not kept up with, which is just like reading a bit before going on the computer. I think it is a good idea to start doing that again. Because I did buy a book yesterday. I went out and I bought a toaster at the thrift store, and then I always check the English language books, since I found some great stuff. Like, what did I find? I found some William Gibson books, two Jonathan Franz, and I have not read these books, by the way. Don DeLillo book. What else did I find? Found a copy of Brave New World. I think I found a copy of Siddhartha, which is a good book. Anyway, I found a book by Ted Chiang, his second collection of stories, which I did not know was released, I believe, back in 2019, called Exhalation. And it got me thinking yesterday about adaptations. Because Ted Chiang wrote a short story called Story of Your Life, which was adapted into the film Arrival, directed by Denis Villeneuve, which was a very highly acclaimed film, but having read, like, I was really excited about it when it was announced, and when I went to see it, because the story is amazing. It's probably one of the best short stories I've ever read in my life. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it is a very powerful short story. It's so beautiful. But also I think it's like I was at a point in my life where, I mean, I got into this whole like weird mindset for a couple years, like around a decade ago, where I started to doubt the existence of free will, and yeah, I still don't know if we actually have free will, but sort of like not productive or healthy to get too bogged down by that because it's just that I mean, there's like we have the experience of it, and it seems like we do. So whether or not we actually do doesn't really matter. But this story goes into that. I don't want to like spoil anything about it, but yesterday, so yeah, like seeing this book, buying this book, and thinking about Arrival and how disappointed I was. It got me thinking about like adaptations and like what the point is of adapting something where you have to fundamentally change it so much to make it like work as a movie. I'm talking about specifically cinematic adaptations because like you've likely heard people say, well, if a book is adapted, the book is always better, which is not the case. I don't think so. I'll give you an example. One of my favorite books of all time is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick, which was adapted into Blade Runner, which I was sort of disappointed to begin with. When I saw Blade Runner, like I understood, because I read the book first, and I understood that Blade Runner is a masterpiece and highly influential in film in general, but you know even more in like science fiction films. Um, but yeah, there's just like a lot of stuff from the book that I find really really interesting and really good that isn't explored. But when you really think about it, like okay, so like the story is fundamentally different. There's still like the same core framework and characters, but the story is quite different. And but the thing is that it explores the same themes in a different way, but the point is the same, and the message gets across. And in the book, it does it in ways that I think only a book can really do, and in the film, it does it in ways that like only a film can really do. So the book isn't better than the movie. Both are absolute masterpieces, in my opinion. But then you think of something like Arrival, where so like the story is like you can't make a movie just from the short story, from the content of the short story, because it's a scientist reflecting back upon her experiences with these aliens. Like that's it. So that's not a movie. You can't have that. Like literally that does not work as a movie. You can't show that somebody thinking about something, right? And there's also like yeah, there's not really like a narrative, and that's not to say that you can't make a movie that doesn't have like a more traditional narrative, but like this is a big budget fucking movie, right? And it just seemed like sort of a bizarre. Like I understand wanting to adapt it because it's such a good story. It's such an amazing work of art. But like, why? Does it add like so much stuff to be able to make it into like a more traditionally structured and like I understand why it was so acclaimed because like it is a well-made film and the performances are really good, but there's some stuff that was just like especially I don't want to spoil anything, but like one thing like near the end that was added like as a what I believe to be totally unnecessary added plot point just to hammer home the like concept because like it's again it's like there's not like a compelling story in the story of your life. It's like the concept and the themes that are explored are like it just like intellectually very beautiful, you know? And so, yeah, I understand why there would be a desire to do it, but I don't know, like, that's what I'm saying, making sense. Like, there's no way of doing it while doing the story justice because the story only works as literature. I'll give you another example of like um, David Cronenberg adapting Naked Lunch. Like, there's no story in Naked Lunch. I mean, there are stories, but essentially, if you don't know, Naked Lunch is a novel written by William S. Burroughs, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it was revolutionary, like at least in like English language literature, and then also like it's setting precedent for free speech laws in the U.S. because like I think some people were like brought to court for like importing this book because and it was considered to be like obscene, and then anyway it went to the Supreme Court. I think it was like also like Lady Chatterley's Lover by I don't remember who. Lawrence? Is that D.H. Lawrence? Is that a writer? Anyway, but yeah, essentially like William S. Burroughs took a bunch of this collection of writing that he had made, right? And he just like would just transcribe it and like cut it up and rearrange it. So it's just this like I don't know how deep I can get into William S. Burroughs because if you get into like the Nova trilogy, it's a crazy, crazy trilogy of books. But it's not even really like a trilogy in that like. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like those books broke my brain. Essentially, the point I think of the Nova trilogy, because yeah, like one of course was released after the other, but there's not any chronology. It's literally just this one thing cut up and rearranged, and it's very repetitive. But yeah, eventually it just like breaks your brain, and you start to understand it. It's really fucking crazy. It's really cool. But yeah, Naked Lunch is disgusting and funny and weird. But like you literally can't adapt that because it's literally like a transgression against literature, and it only works as literature because that's the whole point. Is it's breaking literature. And so, what did David Cronenberg do? He just made shit up. It has nothing to do with Naked Lunch. I mean, it's got some connections, but it's like it's got nothing to fucking do with Naked Lunch. And it's okay, but it's like why did you need to adapt Naked Lunch? And then you have like I think the best example, just because I mean it was done by a genius and one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, and I believe one of the greatest living artists, Charlie Kaufman. The film Adaptation, which okay, so Charlie Kaufman was hired to adapt a nonfiction book called The Orchid Thief by Susan Orlean. And so he got his advance, started writing it, and realized that there isn't a story, really. Like, nothing happens in this book, or at least nothing happens that would be, like, adaptable in and of itself as a film, like, as a good movie. Like, it was an interesting book, it was a good book, but, like, it wasn't, there's no way it could be a good movie. But then it's like, but it's also like nonfiction. It's like a true story. And so, what he did instead, and this is like the real Charlie. This is the Charlie Kaufman also made Being John Malkovich. My favorite film is Synecdoche, New York. He did Synecdoche, New York. That was his first. It was his directorial debut. But he also did the novel Lisa. I'm thinking of ending things. This guy. He also wrote a novel, which I have not read, called And Kind. I need to read. I own it, but I haven't read it. Charlie Kaufman is amazing. But so what Charlie Kaufman did is he wrote a screenplay about a screenwriter named Charlie Kaufman who was hired to adapt the nonfiction book, The Orchid Thief by Susan Orlean, but isn't able to do it because there's no story. And also wrote in a fictional twin of Charlie Kaufman. So anyway, and then also when he presented the screenplay, which he's like, if I recall correctly, he said like he was terrified because like who would do this? But he's just like, this is what I have, right? Um, and it ended up working out because he made the movie, and it's an absolute masterpiece. But um, the he actually like presented it as Charlie Kaufman and the fictional twin, and I believe like the only time a fictional person was ever nominated for an Academy Award or like one of those big awards was that screenplay. Um, and so like that's brilliant, but like in most cases, I don't know why I'm talking about. I just want to talk about these movies. You should definitely. I mean, check out Arrival. Check it out, but it's not. I'd say read the story. Read the story, and then watch the movie. Or if you'd rather just watch the movie, don't. No. Read the story. Read the story. It's really good. It's really good. Check out Ted Chiang. Um, and then yeah, Naked Lunch was all right. Definitely not Cronenberg's best film, but definitely check out all of Charlie Kaufman's movies. Everything. Just it's so good. It's so good. But yeah, adaptation is great. Synecdoche, New York, is again it's my favorite movie, but it's also like really there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and it's like one of those movies where like I mean I've seen it like probably 5 times, and it is devastating every time. And also I figure out new stuff about it every time. Should watch that again soon. Um, but yeah. Um, Today I'm thinking about the song "Construction Man" by Yucky Duster, which is a very fun, catchy song, and really speaks to something as a pedestrian uh, that that I feel a lot is when construction blocks my path and I have to go around it, and I don't want to do that, and it's like I know I can go. Which leads me also to I don't know, we want to leave, but there's like two places in which it was very convenient to cross at train tracks here in Sherbrooke, on Short Street, going down this little hill and then going to I don't know what street that is, but it's near it's near Fédéral anyway. That was very convenient, and then also going from the Parc Camiran to the parking lot in back of like the little shopping center where the grocery store and the pharmacy are. Um, and so I noticed like 2 days ago, because I wanted to go to the grocery store, but I was downtown first, going from downtown to the grocery store, and so I cut through where I usually go, and I noticed that they'd put a fence back up. So essentially, like you'd have like a little path going through under this nice tree, and there's a fence that has been like cut and ripped away years ago. And then there was the train tracks, and then like a little pile of dirt going up to, there's like a concrete sort of like wall. It was steep, but like, you could easily go. I remember a couple years ago, somebody from the railway company had put up another fence on the area where there's the, wall. And I was like, this is not going to last like a day. Somebody's going to come and just remove this fence. And then I went back the next day, and somebody had just cut the fence. But what they did is, I found so creative, so smart. It's a pain in the ass because it was a convenient place to walk, but they just dug a hole that's just deep enough that you just can't really like climb up the wall easily, or really at all. It's like taller than me, or like deeper than I am tall. And then just took all the dirt and then just put it on the other side of the train tracks. So just like, there's just a hole there now. It's really funny. But then the other one, which is like even more convenient because it's really a pain in the ass to do the detour to go back into Gold Street. I was walking there because I wanted to go to the thrift store to buy a toaster. So this was a convenient way to get to the thrift store. Then it's fucking. I go there and I realize like there was like a bunch of trees there and they're all gone. I'm like, what the hell? So I go and this is a place where there's like a pretty steep butte down, and you couldn't cross the train tracks. There's like a fence part of the way, but then the rest there's no fence. And I mean this is like a super heavily used shortcut. I mean to the point where like every. I mean, there's like somebody puts down like a rope every winter with like knots in it, so that because it gets pretty icy, so you can go up this. I mean, it was so convenient. And what they did is they cut down these trees and they just like stacked all the tree trunks and branches to like fill up this like butte area, and also put up another fence and then put a fence on the other side. You can still go around, but there's a fence on the other side. Well, I guess also a very creative way of doing it. But yeah, and it's like I get why they don't want people going there, but at the same time, I'm like the pedestrian in me is just like, yeah, we're just making my life harder, making everybody's life harder. It's like, of course, it's their private property. But at the same time, it's like you put not the individual who's putting up the fences, but it's like you put train tracks to a very convenient place to cross, so people are going to find a way to cross. As I said in Jurassic Park, life finds a way, so I'm assuming that this is going to be resolved at some point. But somebody's going to find a more creative solution than the creative solution. Okay, I've been talking for like 20 minutes. Later today, it's going to keep getting warmer. Peaking at 27, excuse me, 27 degrees Celsius. But yeah, like Construction Man, I love the chorus. The chorus goes, oh, that's not the right one. Chorus goes, there's no way I'm walking around this building. Actually, these are all the lyrics of it. It just construction man, just saying construction man. And there's no way I'm walking around this building. I see the gate. I know it's there. It's something that really resonates profoundly with me. 27 degrees Celsius, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It's gonna get warmer. Going to stay mostly sunny all day. No chance of rain until tonight, really. Only 22% chance. No, it's going to get higher at the end of the night. But yeah, it's just going to keep going down with, around 8 p.m., 22% chance of rain, 22 degrees Celsius, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Going to go down to 19 degrees Celsius, 65 degrees Fahrenheit. However, that's going to get up to a 47% chance of rain. Yeah, I feel like this thing, it felt good to talk. Again, I've been sort of a wizard of loneliness. But I also think that it's probably sort of a waste of time for you if you've gotten this far. I don't think it was particularly that interesting. But anyway, I'm going to leave. I don't know what I'm going to do. I feel sort of lost. Everyone, have a great rest of your day.